Alright, so I'm going to be talking about Cam Thomas's passing from Summer League. A lot of people think Cam is a poor passer or an unwilling passer, which he definitely is at times. But after rewatching the first four Summer League games, I think he's a slightly better passer than people will give him credit for. He still has his faults, whether it be predetermining his process, like trying to score instead of make the right play, and his court mapping isn't great. But he showed positive flashes in Summer League that should get some attention. When looking at any player's playmaking ability, we should take a holistic view that looks at passes that turn into assists, passes that don't turn into assists, and also passes that weren't made to get a better understanding of one's abilities. So I'm going to start off with the passes that I felt like he could have made but he didn't made, and then I'm going to go into the passes that he made that ended up being assists or didn't end up being assists. Right. So first you have against Milwaukee, bringing up the ball against Beauchamp. Dayron sets a screen, slips, and then he stops, cuts back to the middle, and tries to take a mid-range jumper, and it turns into a turnover because Dayron was in the paint too long. So my problem with this is that when Dayron slip and Cam's attacks, right, he's primarily looking at the rim, and he doesn't realize that Kessler's guy is helping off of Kessler and that he has Kessler wide open for a shot at the corner. And by the time he realizes it or recognizes, Kessler's man, he doesn't try to make that pass still. He tries to go back middle and then ends up making a turnover. So to me, that should be a play where Cam passes the ball to Kessler, who's open for a three. All right, so next play, in transition attacking Jaden Springer. Jaden Springer walls him off, and Cam ends up taking a contested mid-range jumper. Problem with this to me is that Jaden Springer does a really good job walling off Cam, and at this point Cam's just putting his head down trying to accelerate around Jaden Springer, but he doesn't notice that again Kessler Edwards wide open for three here, and then Raekwon Gray is open in the left slot area for an open three as well. But again, Cam is focused on trying to get his own shot up and instead takes a really difficult shot that misses. Next play, he gets a slip screen from a Nets player. He attacks, gets stopped, tries to attack again, gets stopped again, and then resets. Right, so to me, the problem with this play is he's predetermining that he wants to score. When the slip screen happens, right, this should be an automatic pass to the guy at the top of the key. But instead, Cam tries to drive and score on his own when there's a clear pass that's available to be made. You see the guy that was guarding the screener is pretty much in no man's land. He's not really impeding Cam, and he's also not really in a position to recover to his guy. So to me, this should be a play that Cam should have immediately passed off to the guy at the top of the key. And then next we have, he gets a screen from Dayron. He attacks downhill, takes a contested mid-range jumper over Kenny Lofton Jr. I think, again, this shows that he's predetermining what he wants to do and is not seeing the court entirely. So he drives, puts his head down, and he doesn't know the guy on the Nets that's drifting to the baseline. Right, his defender here is not even paying attention. He's just totally losing his man. Being a player, and granted, like, Cam Thomas is never going to be a guy like this, but like James Harden or like LeBron or Luka would be able to recognize, like, okay, this guy totally lost off ball. We could hit this baseline drifter for an open three, right? But Cam instead, puts his head down, is determined to score and ends up taking a contested fadeaway jumper that misses. And next, you see Duke Jr. pass to Cam. Cam again predetermines what he wants to do, ends up going nowhere and throwing it away or throwing it to Raekwon Gray. To me, this should have been a easy pass to Kessler Edwards. Kessler Edwards is wide open. His guy, has 1 foot in the restricted circle, 1 foot out. So Cam should be able to make this pass and get an open three for Kessler. And if Kessler's guy closes out, he can easily hit the guy right next to him for an open shot. Right, but instead, Cam tries to fake left, go right against Wendell Moore, and he doesn't really create any advantage, so then he has to pass it off. Right? So I think the big thing with Cam is, what these clips show is that he does have a tendency to predetermine what he wants to do, and he doesn't see the court entirely all the time. Right? So then you have the next play. drives at the rim, kicks it out, and you know, I don't mind the kick out, but I think again this kind of shows his limitations. He doesn't see the court entirely well sometimes when he's driving. Drives, sees the defender, or sees Dayron's defender right there. By the time he gets in the paint, he still doesn't recognize Kessler's man has come over to help. He has the chance to maybe pass it off to Kessler for a semi-open three, but he loses that passing angle a little bit, and then he kicks it back out for a three. Alright, so now I'm going to shift to the plays that I feel like he did a really good job with in making reads. So first, against Milwaukee, this is a really basic read or simple read, but ends up kicking it out to Dayron for three. This is something that's really simple. Dayron goes, sets the screen, and he flares out to the three-point line. You see here that Dayron's man is already at the nail, showing help, trying to deter Cam from getting to his spot. Cam drives left, gets the help defender's attention, and then kicks it back out to Dayron, which is the right play in that moment, being able to suck in the defense and kick it out to the open shooter. Obviously, teams are going to live with Dayron shooting open threes, but that shouldn't matter. It's still the right play in that moment, instead of him trying to force it. Right, the next, Cam gets the ball, isolating, attacks, drives, kicks out to the corner. That's a great block, but I think this is like his third best play in Summer League, or third best pass in Summer League. Isolating at the left side, he attacks the middle, he gets low to get lower shin angles and accelerate past this guy against Beauchamp. He gets in the paint, he gets 2 feet in the paint basically, or 2 feet like outside the restricted area. He sells the attempt by looking at the rim and looking at his man, and at the last second he contorts his body to throw the pass to the right side corner. So he recognized that the help defender from the right side came over to stop his shot, and he made the right decision in throwing a pass to the weak side corner, or not the weak side corner, but the right side corner. There is no weak side when you're attacking middle, right? And this also shows just really good processing by Cam, recognizing that the help defender came over and knowing where that help defender's man was on the court. So yeah, this to me is a really good play by Cam. That's something you didn't really see last year at all, right? Next play, again against Milwaukee. Same sort of situation where he has Beauchamp on an island in the right slot, gets Beauchamp with the between, and then you see the help defender on this strong side comes over, tries to stop Cam, tries to dig in. Right, Cam recognizes it, and he hits the shooter in the strong side corner for a three that he misses. But again, being able to recognize, the help defender and then making a play out of that. That's something that we saw in the missed read section that he didn't do consistently, but here's an example of him doing it. Right. Next, I think this is Cam's best pass period as a pro. Sets a back screen, gets a down screen, then runs a pick and roll with Dayron, and he hits Kessler Edwards in the weak side corner for a three. Easily, I think, his best pass as a pro. Right, I think the big thing is this is a multi-layered play where you're running the screen and roll, or you're running the pick and roll. You're engaging with, Dayron's big man who's in a drop, and you're also having to look for Kessler's man, who's supposed to be the weak side tagger, to stop Dayron from getting an easy dunk or layup or an alley-oop. Right, so you could see at a certain point, like that Cam recognizes the weak side tag by Kessler's man, and then he's able to hit Kessler in the weak side corner. The accuracy isn't great. It's not exactly in Kessler's shooting pocket, but I don't really care for that personally in these moments. I think what's more important is the process and the ability to make that pass rather than, the accuracy at the moment. All right. Next, you have Cam isolating at the top. You have the Minnesota defender. He's opening up his hips to encourage Cam to drive to the middle, or drive left using his weak hand. Cam drives, recognizes the help defender again, and passes it out. Again, we showed this earlier. He doesn't always see the help defender, but when he does, he has the ability to make those reads. So again, he drives, gets 2 feet, below the free throw line, recognizes the help defender on the left side, is trying to deter a shot, and he makes a play out of it, and understands and has the awareness and court mapping to know where his teammate is in that situation to make that pass, right? But even though the guy misses. Right, this play is interesting. So you see the Minnesota rookie, he's opening up his hips to encourage Cam Thomas to drive to the right, to drive to where the help is, right? But instead, Cam tries to thread the needle and throws a pass outside of his body frame to Day'Ron Sharpe that gets deflected. I think this pass is pretty interesting because Cam didn't throw passes outside of his body frame all that often. He did it like maybe a few times in Brooklyn in his rookie season, but he didn't do it always. And when I say throwing passes out of his body frame, I mean throwing passes outside of his chest and torso area. So, and I think this is important because the ability to throw passes out of your body frame opens up passing angles and avenues that aren't there traditionally if you were just throwing a chest pass. If Cam probably tries to throw a chest pass, this may get deflected by the rookie that's guarding him, right? So for me, I think this is a pretty interesting pass by Cam. He doesn't really thread the needle all that often. He doesn't really throw passes outside his body frame all that often. And I think this pass is pretty accurate. If it wasn't for the deflection, Day'Ron would have gotten 2 points on the dunk or a layup. Next. So this is another really good play. This is, I think, his second best pass of Summer League and something that you really didn't see all that often in Brooklyn last year. So he drives, and I think at this moment here, you can see he may be able to recognize the weak side defender collapsing, trying to contest the shot at the rim. So then he throws like a little bit of a wraparound pass to the guy in the corner, or in the right side corner, and he gets a 3 off. Again, this is something that you didn't really see from Cam, him throwing a wraparound pass, being able to read the help defender coming over to try and block his shot and making that pass. So to me, this is a really good progression from Cam because we haven't seen that from him in Brooklyn.
So to end this, I don't think Cam will ever become a high-level playmaker, but I think he'll become one that's good enough to attack a bent defense and one that you feel comfortable enough with when he wants to cook on offense. He can clearly read help defenders and pass to punish them, but he has a tendency to predetermine his plans, which is generally scoring, and that's totally understandable. At Oak Hill, he was the guy. At LSU, he was the guy, but obviously the league is different, and he has a lot of confidence in his abilities, right? But, he's not good enough right now to be the main guy that he wants to be. So to me, the next step for him is consistency in his reads, and we've seen that there's moments where he draws and engages in multiple defenders, but he doesn't always make the reads that are necessary or that are available to him. He also can improve his processing, understanding that he doesn't always have to score all the time and that there are other plays to be made and that he can withdraw and retreat. Another step will be giving him layered actions like the first play that I showed against Philly when he's reading the screener's man and the low man to, increase his feel for the game. All right, and that's it. Thanks for watching.